Welcome. I'm Elaine. So this is the decree, and this is a series. So this is part 11. And so part 11 is on ex relationships ending. So it is the ex relationships ending decree. So let's start with you, not your ex. Okay, so in this work, we are beings of source consciousness, a fragment of original source that is in our DNA. Our original DNA is a 12-strand DNA in our body. Our inner body is the compass. And in this work, nothing is complete until the body says yes. So the body is always kind of the golden key, letting us know that yes, it is. You will feel the release and you will feel the shifts in your body. So it in this work, you will feel it. So in 3D, it's very dense, a low vibration of pain and suffering, essentially, is 3D. And keeping you at a low frequency is kind of the goal of 3D. Your energy is used basically from 4D. And we're here to clear what isn't yours. And relationships come in and they can really decimate, starseeds, sensitives, uh, empaths, black sheep are all under the umbrella of light workers. And so they can decimate you for years, for decades, or for a short time, but keep an impact throughout your life. So we want to clear it to the root cause, and we want to clear the repetition. Usually, if you've had a difficult relationship, it has repeated, and you feel like you have a sign on your head saying, if you're a psychopath or a narcissist, like I'm available, but you do not have a sign on your head saying you are available for what I call the dark triad, the sociopath, psychopath, narcissist. What you have is a heart consciousness, and you emanate heart consciousness, and that is what they are drawn to, right? They are disconnected from their own free will choice from source, or they're made, narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths are made. They are not source emanated. Um, and so they're here to kind of keep your emotional energy to a very low frequency. And so you always notice, what were you like before this person came into your life? How was your life going before this person came into your life? And then how quickly did your body change after the person came into your life? Like, it might have felt like a big high and there was lots of love bombing, because they're very good at mimicking, you know, and they're good at mirroring you. And they need you to kind of like latch on so that they latch on and basically siphon your energy. And so And you can notice that, very quickly your body started giving you messages, or you started getting sick. So what happens to a lot of light workers is that they'll start getting internal bleeding, or um something will happen with their menstruation, something will happen with their nervous system or their lymphatic system, or they'll get an autoimmune disease. Just notice when your body started making changes. When did your skin start breaking out? When did your body start hurting? And then who was around when that changed? The body is giving you messages, and that is the compass. Okay, so in this work, it is about your sovereignty, so that you're ending energetic cords because they're draining. And you're reclaiming your resources, you're reclaiming your divine pairing, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It's not gender. It's actually like an internal activation that has been blocked from 4D to 3D in our 3D bodies. And it is something that is reawakening. And the divine feminine is reawakening out of interference in 2026. And then once the divine feminine awakens, then the divine masculine awakens. And it is an internal awakening, and then it is mirrored on the outside. And that is something that has been blocked for 2000 years. That is what the 4D, um, they're called the Anunnaki, Annunaki. They are all about tech and interference. They changed our DNA from 12 to 2 strand DNA, and now our DNA is activating. So, and all the interference is being removed. And so the decree removes what isn't for your highest and greatest good. It's an energetic severance. And then everything is getting sent to source. So when the relationships with your ex is done and you're broken up or you're separated or you're getting divorced, if you are in a relationship with the dark triad, a psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, and I believe that all domestic violence situations, you are dealing with a psychopath or a sociopath in the extreme version of narcissism. And so we want to get your energy cleared so that you are not reacting or pulled around, because that is what they want. They want the control. They want to be able to yank you around. And they definitely do not want you to feel neutral about them. Right. So even if you're broken up, they still want you obsessed. They still want to be communicating with you. They do not want you to stop your obsession with them because they are obsessed, because they need your energy, but you do not need them. You do not need them. You can be in a room by yourself and your energy will reactivate. Theirs won't. They actually need someone else to feed off of. So you don't need them. And, this can even happen with intrusiveness. I've seen with people is, the ex coming into the dreams. And it's like, no, they're not welcome in any time space. They're not welcome in your dreams. They're not welcome in any time space. So it's the one pattern that is consistent, and you can wait until you have multiple years of examples of lying, cheating, stealing. But if you are dealing with the dark triad in a relationship, the psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, even the nice guy, but he's very manipulative and controlling, the covert narcissist, right? They're trickier to see because they're very quiet, and you have to feel sorry for them, and they always have so much going on, but they're lying, cheating, and stealing. Okay, so they're not a poor little baby. They are a grown person and they know what they are doing, and they just don't want to get caught. And so once you become conscious of what they're doing, then you can take action. But we're going to do the energetic severance so that you can actually feel calm in your body, calm in your nervous system, and your lymphatic system can drain, release the excess, release what is not yours. And so you can wait until you get multiple examples of the lying, cheating, and stealing. But the cheating is always um, after the lying. The lying comes first. So notice the little lies, notice the big lies, but they are a liar and they are a compulsive liar, and they have no problem lying. And they will tell you they had to lie because you would be upset. It's like ding dong. Wow, you're a genius. Of course, you're going to be upset with lying, because when someone lies, you lose your agency to make decisions. And they know that if you knew the truth, you would break up with them. And so they lie because they want to hold on to you. So it has nothing, they're not lying because you're going to get angry or you're hysterical. They're lying because they know that once you know, you will make a different choice. And they don't actually know if you would completely sever connection with them because you don't need them. They're siphoning your energy and you don't need their energy. So, and it seems like, they did everything they could, lying, cheating, stealing that entire time that you're in a relationship, but then they won't break up. And so it's not up to them if they will break up or not. It is up to you. Do you want a chance to actually find your divine partner, your divine conscious partner? And that is what they're blocking. And by constantly interfering in your life. And that is what they don't want to see. They don't actually want to see you fall in love and be happy without them. And you will be. You will be a million times happier. So, how to end this once and for all? Okay, so no more intrusive thoughts, no more intrusive dreams, no more signs from the universe, right? That's like spiritual bypassing torture, right? Where they're like, but he pops up on my socials, he pops up everywhere. Yeah, because he's probably a stalker. He's popping up everywhere because he needs your energy. And this is about awareness. And once you realize the dynamic, then you have a chance to make a different choice. Okay. So you don't need more relationship lessons. You need to just wake up and see how things actually are and not how you imagine them to be. This fantasy of he's going to become better later or he's going to be more committed later. Once we have a child, he will be committed later. There's no later. If it's not happening in the now, it is not happening in the future. And if they're lying, cheating, and stealing in the now, they will be lying and cheating and stealing in the future. To have an awakening from the dark triad is 1%. It is not happening. They're not here to be conscious. They're here to stop you from awakening and activating your consciousness. That is their job. Their job is interference. Okay, so now how do you pick up the pieces? And there may be children involved. There's no chance if you're involved with the dark triad, the sociopath, psychopath, narcissist, there is no chance for co-parenting because they need their image and they need to win. And I hear from people in sessions, they never wanted and were involved with the children, but as soon as you divorced or wanted to leave them, divorce them because they've been lying and cheating, and who knows how many people, you're never going to know the number of how many people they've been with. And even if they don't, they're controlling financially, they're controlling emotionally. They're restricting your life because they're siphoning your energy. So, they sold you a false image, and they're not, they may say, you're ugly, you're fat, you're horrible, but why did they pursue you so hard if you're so horrible? If you're so ugly, if you're so unattractive, why did they pursue you for so long? And why did they keep coming back? You know, They're liars. They're lying. They need you to feel bad about yourself so that you do not activate your own agency, your own power, your own consciousness. They love, their image is so sparkly and oh, they'll do absolutely everything for people in public. They're always looking for opportunities where they look really good. And then they will be slandering you the whole time. You think they're in love with you because they proposed and they want to get married and you got married and you had the whole wedding and the dress and the whole deal. But they have been slandering you the entire time, putting you down, and then saying something completely different to you behind closed doors. They are two people, one person in the public and then one person in private. And their image matters the most. So you do not have a sign on your head saying, I attract psychos. There is no sign. They are attracted to your warmth. They are attracted to your heart. They are attracted to your light of consciousness. They are attracted to your generosity. So think of it this way that you are more targeted, they know what they're doing. And they need multiple supply. Like like what if you reject them? Well, they need somebody else right there. And you'll see that with many of the dark triad, the psychopath, sociopath, narcissist. As soon as you break up, like you were married, they have somebody already, and they are in that new relationship the next day. But they're in that relationship before you even break up. And they've been in multiple relationships the entire time you have been together. And they have no problem. They have like a disconnection because they don't have a heart. They have no heart consciousness. And people will say, yeah, that's so mean. They do. No, if you lack empathy, you are not you are not source aligned. It is the key. Okay, so we're ejecting them for your highest and greatest good, but you're doing it for your own sovereignty. It's your choice. So, and the reason why the inner divine masculine and feminine has been blocked on Earth for 2000 years is because they need you to be disempowered. Because once the inner divine masculine activates, all of a sudden when, like with empaths, I'll see it all the time. Like this one woman said, oh, like my boyfriend, he's so amazing. He has this whole list. I've got like 10 things on the list of things that he wants to manifest and things that he wants to do. And I'm here to make his dreams come true. And then you go, okay, but what are the dynamics? Do you have a list? Well, no, his list is my list. I'm here to make his dreams come true. No one has understood him the way I understand him. I'm here to help, and she's gets completely, he is a Draco reptilian, and so he is a psychopath, and she gets absolutely decimated in that relationship. And she breaks up and she flees, and then she comes back, right? Because it's like a trauma bond. And this has been going on for a few years. So it's not easy to disentangle yourself from them, but you can. And once you feel that they don't have any hooks or cords or interference, you're going to feel your own energy, and then you're going to be able to see things clearly. So that's the decree. The decree is, it's a conscious spoken, it's like a declaration of your awareness, your full awareness. And so once you see and once you feel, you'll be able to make a better decision. It's a sovereign act. The decree is a sovereign act. It's a clear statement saying, this does not belong to me and I release it. But I release it to the highest and greatest good. I release it to source. It's not something that you're hoping is going to happen in the future. I hope he'll change. I hope things will get better. This is a decision. It's spoken in your own voice. I am sovereign. The core principle is I am sovereign. I release what is not mine, and it is done. The decree severance does not cause harm. It releases harm to the root cause. So how the decree is done, it's with your eyes open, you're fully aware, and all you need is one single piece of paper, and you're probably going to write both sides, one single piece of paper, and you're going to just need a pen, maybe a backup pen, and you're going to write on both sides, and I will guide you through what to write. And so we're going to write the decree, and you're going to speak it out loud 3 times, and then you're going to burn the decree. And what I found is to actually burn it in a pot. Okay. And you're going to do this in the kitchen, and then to actually have some tongs. And then we're going to fold the piece of paper. So once you finish writing it and speaking it 3 times, we're going to fold it 3 times, sealing it. And then you're going to hold it with your tongs, and then you're going to light it, and then watch it kind of burn, and then just drop it in, and it's going to go to ash. And if a part of it doesn't burn, you're going to relight it and burn it again. Okay, so we're going to make sure that everything burns, and then we're going to sprinkle it with some sea salt. This is just some local sea salt from Vancouver Island. I'm in Vancouver. And then sprinkle it with some sea salt. It works like a sealer. And then you're gonna put the ashes down the toilet, make sure they all flush. I've seen ashes not flush. And then you're gonna put some water in the pot, and then put that water so all the ash goes in the pot, and then rinse it 3 times in the toilet, flush, make sure all the ash, everything goes down the toilet. And so just you're going to be witnessing the shifts in your body, how your body feels. You might feel very tired, like it's so overwhelming to read this decree. It's your decree and you're reading it 3 times, but you might feel very tired, or you might feel a lot of energy, or you might feel like your throat kind of feels tight. That happens a lot with energy work. But the emphasis is like your awareness and your authority. So you're here to see how does it feel? Like if they're not interfering with you at all and it's no big deal, then why is your body having such a reaction? Okay. And then, I always recommend you watch the decrees from the beginning, especially the first 5 videos. It's really important because your nervous system is getting prepared and your body is getting prepared. And then you're also understanding why you're choosing this. Why securing your space, with spritzing with like an essential oil, like this is mint. And then you just put a few drops. I just have this with water. You can use distilled water, but I just use water, purified water, a few drops of mint, but make sure, if mint is toxic to cats, you can always just use rosemary, is not toxic to cats, and then spritz it in the 4 corners. And so you're learning how to secure your space so that you can actually sleep at night without interference, without bad dreams, without nightmares, without intrusive thoughts of, different memories, constantly looping in your system. So you can have a break. You can just be in your own energy. Um, and then, so the decrees are in a series on YouTube, and they're called The Decree. And the first one is the welcome, part 1. Part 2 is naming your space. So we name our spaces and then seal it in source's name. And then all else is refused entry from source. And if you don't get a name, just ask your higher self. It will come. People get kind of like stage fright. Oh, what's my higher self going to say? But your higher self will speak. As soon as you ask a question, your higher self will bring the answer through right away. And then the ego tries to block and interfere. And then part 3 is preparing your space. So clearing out your space and then putting the essential oils in the corner and then a little pinch of sea salt in the corner. And then this, corners are kind of corners, windows, and doors are openings. And so you want to seal them in source's name. And then plants, mint, rosemary, sage, cedar, rue, hyssop has a frequency and a vibration, and we want to keep your frequency in your home at a heart level, and the plants will help do that. Check to see what's toxic to your pets, and if you have toddlers, the only thing that I found that is not toxic to cats is rosemary. And so, check, keep safe with your pets and people have different kind of pets nowadays. So just check to see what's toxic for your pet and what would work in your space. And then the technology decree for light workers is it is the new world basically of securing technology because we are using technology all the time. And the interference comes from 4D, which is all technology. They're all about tech, genetics, experimenting with genetics. Experimenting is, you know, it's all tech basically. So we want to claim everything in source's name, our phones, our computers, and then part 6 is the body decree. And then part 7 is the post decree. And so just some self-care, and then what are some things that can happen with the decree. And then part 8 is the family decree. And I always say do 3 names. And then if you need to do more decrees, because we only want to do one piece of paper. We don't want to write a book, and it will overwhelm your nervous system. So I always just say, pick 3 people. So pick 3 family members. In this work, pick 3, personal relationships. And sometimes they can be from childhood, and they're constantly popping in your mind, but you don't have any relationship with them in the present. And so that would be something to look at, maybe just to remove that, like, why is somebody that's from the past still pulling on your energy? That's very common as well. And then part 10 is the financial severance decree. And this is part 11, X relationship ending decree, part 11. Okay, so before we begin, choose your timing. Make sure you drink lots of water and hydrate. It's very important for energy work. And then, do this when you're ready and you're not rushed and you have some private time. It could take a couple of hours reading it, writing it, and then reading it and then burning it. And you want to do it all at one time. You don't want to burn the piece of paper later. You don't want to hold on to the piece of paper. You want to write it, you want to speak it 3 times, and you want to burn it. You want to do it in the moment and don't have it lingering around. Okay, so make sure you have private time and that you won't be interrupted. And also your emotional readiness, because you might be feeling frustration and remorse and grief and old memories and anger, fear, sadness, and in spite of all of that, you're like, no, I'm ready. I need a shift. I want to meet my divine partner. I want to be cleared of this. So you don't have to wait for the other person to agree with you and, ending and severing energetic connections. You can decide for yourself. So, okay. So if you're ready, let's go. Gather your materials, your piece of paper, your pen, backup pen, your pot and your tongs and a lighter. And then, do it in the kitchen because then you can put the exhaust fan, because this one piece of paper, it can actually burn. The flame can be quite high, and also it can smoke. But it's depends on the paper. I've seen lots of different things when people burn their decree. So, yeah, be prepared, and I found I was doing it with my fingers, holding it because, with a piece of paper, but actually with the tongs, it gives you so much more, and there's tongs that are even longer than this. So it gives you so much more, and then you can just light, the four corners or three corners, and then just hold it basically like that, and then hold it over the pot, so as it's burning, and then you can just drop it whenever you feel safe. And then you can wear oven mitts as well. And then I like it in a pot because you can hold the handle. At first I burnt it in like a metal bucket on my balcony, but then the bucket is really hot and then you have to pick it up to take the ashes to the toilet. So a pot actually works really well. And then you just wash it and rinse it, and then your pot is ready to go again because you're sealing it with the sea salt. Okay. And just remember, you're an adult and safety matters, and this could feel emotional. You don't even need to tell anybody you're doing this. It's just you can do it yourself, you know. And your witness is really like your team of unconditional love, your higher self. But this is for yourself. This is for your own sovereignty. And as a seer, for me, the work, it does not shift until the body confirms it. So that we need the body's verification, and the body is the golden key, and it will say, oh my God, yes, I feel so much better. This is shifted. So it's not religious work. So I usually you use the word source, but you can say God if it resonates for you. God, source, divine presence. Eckhart Tolle uses the word divine presence through the heart because the word God is so convoluted on 3D Earth. Okay, so the guidance, isn't complete until the body says yes. Um, and then we're connecting with our higher consciousness or our higher self. And our higher self is like an inner pillar of light that is connected to source. And then the body is like the compass, giving us, clues and telling us what's going on and what's wrong. Our body will always let us know what's going on. And because free will is a cosmic law on earth, we always have to be the ones that decide, yes, I want this person in my life. No, I don't want this person in my life. And, if somebody has been very manipulative in your life, it's like sticky to me as a seer. It's like sticky. It's like black. It's like goo. And it's like they feel like they're like, you know, energetically like interfering. So you just have to say to yourself, like, yeah, no, I don't want them in my field. For me, it's true love or nothing, and true love, there has to be respect both ways and equality, right? And if you have a relationship with the dark triad, the psychopath, sociopath, narcissist is never equal. They always need to have power over you. Okay. So now let's connect to source in our hearts, and I'll guide you verbally just really quickly. So we're going to do like a grounding and a protection. Good. So connect to the heart. The heart is the gateway to the pillar of source consciousness. And we're going in the inner body. This is the same work that Eckhart Tolle does, going into the inner body and the inner pillar of consciousness through source. And we're going to land in the present moment, connecting through our hearts, and then just breathe in and then breathe out. Good. I'm going to do it again. Breathe in and then breathe out. And then one more time, and then breathe in and then breathe out. Good job. That always feels good when we do it together, so much easier. So we're grounded in Gaia, Gaia, which is new earth, 7, 8, 9 dimension. Tara is 5, 6D. So we're grounded and connected to Mother Earth, Tara, Gaia, and we're fully anchored in Gaia. Why not? 7, 8, 9D, right? So connect with Gaia, connecting to the crystalline grid. And we bring up, can do some little energy work here. We'll bring up the vitamins and minerals that our cells need, and our higher self will know the volume or what we need. So we're going to bring up the vitamins and minerals that we need into the cells, and then the cells will express what is no longer for your highest and greatest good. And we give thanks to the ancestors of the land who came before us, that maybe they weren't able to do what we are doing, in this decree, right? Maybe they went in the loops of those same toxic relationships and they were not able to shift it. So just connecting, through the heart to source as we sit quietly with that intention to connect to source directly. We're turning in the stillness. Let the body release any tension in the shoulders. Now opening our hearts to source, the sacred gateway for abundance, divine love, healing, and wisdom. We're fully aligned with source, consciousness, and connected through the golden light of source in our hearts. And our inner pillar is source consciousness. We're invoking our higher self for clarity and alignment. We now call upon our higher self for alignment, answers, clearing. We're asking for the healing and clearing to be to the root cause, to the very first incarnation where this began. May our higher self be fully aligned with the golden light of source. We now surround our space with the golden light of source. So all around, opening, 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 all around, and then bringing the golden light of source and holding it in that inner body, protecting the space with source's golden light, and only energies aligned with unconditional love and source and the highest good of all may enter. All interference, false gods, guides, disruptive energies are repelled by source's golden light. Source's golden light is a protective shield. Only beings aligned with source and the highest good are welcome. All others leave now. The space is sealed. It is done. The space is sealed in source's name. This decree is sealed in source's name. The X relationship decree is sealed in the golden light of source. It is done. We now set the intention that all information and all wisdom that comes through applies in all time, all space, all dimensions, with the intention of clearing to the root causes and shifting energy across all timelines and all realities. This energy work is permanent and aligned only for the highest and greatest good for all with source. Great. And now, if you will, affirm with me. I now activate the inner divine masculine. And I now activate the inner divine feminine. And then see how your body's feeling. Good. Very good. Okay, so let's get starting with the writing. So get your piece of paper, and then I would start writing kind of at the very, very top. Okay, because you're going to fill both sides of the piece of paper. And get a pen. So don't type it on the computer. It's important that it's handwritten. Okay, so you're starting to write. You've got your pen, you've got your paper. You're going to start writing I, and then your full name. So it would be like I, Elaine. So I, your full name, your day, month, and year of birth. Good. The time, if you know it, if you know the time of your birth, great. If not, it's okay. Or the approximate time, good. The city, province, state that you were born in, and the country. So I can feel already the body is activating, especially the hips. Even for men and women, it's like they have like the tight hip flexors or the excess weight. So a lot of empaths you'll see have excess weight on the hips, and that will shift and clear, so we're clearing the tightness. The body can, once we say we see it, we want it cleared, remove it, um, then the body will release. Okay, so you have your full name, day, month, year of birth, time, if you know it. If not, just leave it. The city, province, state that you were born in, and the country. And then you're writing in full sovereignty, SOVEREIGNTY, and with the witnessed authority of all support and guides of only unconditional love, and then write their names down. So I write like God, source, divine presence, Gaia. And then if you have particular guides that you work with, like many work with Yeshua, in one timeline, his name was Jesus, but Yeshua, Yeshua, or Krishna is another one, or Buddha, Mother Mary, Miriam, Mariam, Michael, the Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel. But you'll know because you would have, they have come forward for you. So you can even name the trees, eagles, whales. Whales are the record keepers of 3D Earth. So they've been here when there was 5D, so they know, they know, they know the darkness on 3D Earth. So your full name, so going up to the top. So full name, day, month, year of birth. If you know the time, great. If not, leave it. The city, province, state, country, and then in full sovereignty and with the witnessed authority of all support and guides of only unconditional love, and then write their specific names. And then the next one underneath that is I hereby issue this X, and I wrote EX, or you can just write an X, relationship ending decree. So you're wanting your freedom. You want your energy. You want to stop the interference, the energetic interference. So again, I hereby issue this X relationship ending decree for liberation and sovereignty. And you don't have to worry about spelling from the 3D material plane entanglements, ENTAN, entangle, GLEMENTS, entanglements, and 4D etheric plane interference. Specifically, past relationships, dynamics, and interference with source timing and source receiving, releasing the blocks, overlays, interference of any kind in any time space, in any dimension. Known or unknown, from the inner divine feminine and the inner divine masculine, activating within, and then mirroring that divine connection into the outer world. And it doesn't mean you have to be one person that identifies as a he and one that identifies as a she. Like if you identify as they, it could be they, or she, they, or he, they. But we have an inner divine masculine and feminine in us, and that expression on the outside, but then how you align in the pairing, it can be, whatever you choose, This isn't about gender. This is about a divine pairing, an internal divine pairing that has been interfered with for 2,000 years. And then now it's blocked it from expressing on the outside. So we've ended up in these very toxic dynamics. Remember, you don't need them, they need you. Okay, so let's read that again. I hereby issue this X relationship decree for liberation and sovereignty from the 3D material plane entanglements and the 4D etheric plane interference, especially past relationships, dynamics, and interference with source timing and source receiving, releasing the blocks, overlays, interference of any kind. In any dimension, in any timeline, known or unknown, from the divine feminine and the inner divine masculine, activating, then mirroring that divine connection into the outer world. Okay, and then keep writing. You're doing really well. Okay, it's a lot. And you can feel a lot in your body, so just notice what's happening with the body. All contracts, inferred contracts, cords, vows, karmic agreements, karmic debts related to owing someone else your time, your body, your being, and all soul ties in any time, space, dimension, to the root cause and to the very first incarnation. All energetic connections are expelled from my field. Any energies, it's a strong word, but I feel it's important in this decree. Any energies, any entities. So entities are any energy not heart-based. So any energies, entities, or attachments connected to the X are now released to source. It's actually a very loving thing to do, is releasing everything to source, because things can't shift in 3D, 4D, 5D until we release them to source and surrender. And then just have some water. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat that. So all contracts, inferred contracts, cords, vows, karmic agreements, karmic debts related to owing someone else your time, body, being, and all soul ties in any time, space, dimension, to the root cause, to the very first incarnation. All energy connections are expelled from my field. Any energies, entities, or attachments, right? We just want to keep our own energy. Connected to the X or X's are now released to source. Okay, so now you're going to name, there's usually one that's like a hot button, so put that one first. But there might be like two other relationships that have in the past that have been really tricky, and maybe you're over it, but maybe the other person is still reaching out, or you feel like there's still some energetic connection. So I would write number one, I sever cords to, and then name the person. And if you have their birth date, so their first and last name and their birth date, or their full name and their birth date. If not, just whatever information you have. So I sever cords and then name the person and then the birth date. And then state what you're severing. And I usually say do three things, like I am severing codependence. I am severing financial abuse. I am severing sexual abuse, just as examples. And then what do you reclaim? I reclaim my freedom. I reclaim my innocence. I reclaim my body as sovereign to source. Good. And then number two, I sever cords too, and then name the person and then their birth date if you have it, and then state what you are severing. I sever the manipulation. I sever the control. I sever emotional abuse. So you don't, and just feel how it feels in your body. And you'll mostly feel it in your throat, right? Because you're speaking your truth, not their truth, your truth. And then what do you reclaim? And then I usually name three things I reclaim. I reclaim my patience. I reclaim giving so many chances. I reclaim my truth, just as examples. So you don't have to list out all the things that they do. Usually, if it's like they're lying, they've lied for a long time. So you just write lying. If they're cheating, it's usually you'll never know, but it's probably thousands I'm hearing, like it's as many as they can get away with, basically, but many times they'll say if you go to a wedding or a public event with them, you're alone. They're usually walking ahead of you because they're scouting. They're always looking for, they call it the next, the next marker or the next. They're always on the hunt, and they get irritated how hard they have to hunt. And I feel like that's why the Anunnaki created at 4D created the dating apps. It is exactly it's a very predatory environment, hunting. And then number three, the third person. And then I sever all cords too, and then name the person, and then name their name, and then also their birth date if you have it. And you if the person pops into your head and they're from childhood, really pay attention to that because they can be siphoning your energy for a long time, maybe on purpose or not, but we don't really kind of close loops, like we don't close, like energetically close connections. Oh, well, I'm, friends with all my exes. Okay, but close the energetic loops, see what your energy feels like when it's just your energy. And then, so you're going to state what you're severing. And I usually say three things that you're severing, and then three things, what do you reclaim? So it's really important. What do you reclaim? Because we're wanting, a sovereign, clear, good, loving relationship where respect goes both ways and love goes both ways, right? We don't want these one-sided relationships. Okay, so we're continuing on. You're doing really well. You're doing well, okay? And notice how your body is feeling, okay? Are severed, dissolved, and nullified, NULLIFIED, across all timelines, past, present, future, all dimensions, 3D, 4D, 5D, and beyond, all incarnations, Earth and elsewhere, updated in the Akashic records, and the Akashic records are your soul's complete history across all timelines. And the Book of Life, which is the divine record of all souls and their contracts. These are energetic libraries. Okay, and then the tapestry of all souls is claimed to be the interwoven web of all connections, karma, and agreements. And we were told in quantum hypnosis, Dolores Cannon's work, that the tapestry of all souls cannot be updated. But I do not believe that is true. I believe that that was created by the 4D Anunnaki. So because they want you to not, they have that interwoven web of connections, karma, and agreements, and they want you to keep relooping timelines and timelines, dimensions and dimensions. And there's, and Dolores Cannon would say, but you cannot remove anything from the tapestry. It's like, yeah, what a lie, right? It's like if it's for your highest and greatest good and source aligned, and it can be removed and changed. So, and then the cosmic records with Thoth came forward, and that is from the Egyptian timeline or Egyptian expression. And that I have found very important in this work because this is for your sovereignty in all timelines and all dimensions. And Thoth is he's the cosmic record keeper. So it's really powerful, actually. Okay, so I'll just repeat that. Are severed, dissolved, and nullified across all timelines, past, present, and future, all dimensions, 3D, 4D, 5D, and beyond, all incarnations, Earth and elsewhere, updated in the Akashic records, the Book of Life, the Tapestry of all souls, the Cosmic Records with Thoth, THOTH, and then continuing, I revoke all permission for them to access my energy and interfere with my own personal life. I revoke all permission for them to siphon my time and emotional wellness, empathy, and sympathy. Good. I revoke all permission for them to draw, DRAW, from my field. I revoke all permission for them to remain in my timeline. Good. I revoke all permission for them to have any interference from the archons, Archons, the reptilians, Reptilians, Draco reptilians. Draco is Draco, and the Anunnaki, Annunaki 4D, as they have no claim on me and my personal life. And inferred consent is not consent. So let's repeat that. I revoke all permission for them to access my energy and interference with my own personal life. Good. Siphon my time. So I revoke all permission for them to siphon my time and emotional wellness, empathy, sympathy. I revoke all permission for them to draw from my field, DRAW, draw. I revoke all permission for them to remain in my timeline. I revoke all permission for them to hold any claim on my energy, my resources, and my sovereignty. I revoke all permission for the archons, which are now called the reptilians and Draco reptilians. They are the psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, the dark triad, I call them. The archons is like the Gnostic word from 2000 years ago. And then the modern day word is the reptilians and Draco reptilians, just as background. And then the psychology words would be the psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, but I call that the dark triad, which are the reptilians and Draco reptilians. And then the Anunnaki 4D, as they have no claim on me and my personal life, and inferred consent is not consent. Good. It's a big one. I reclaim. Take a break, have some water. I reclaim my emotional sovereignty Good. I reclaim my soul family as they are from source. I reclaim all loyalty extended. That's a big one, right? Because you are so loyal, so trusting. I reclaim all loyalty extended. I reclaim all hope invested. I reclaim my emotional wellness. I reclaim my money. I reclaim my material resources that are rightfully mine. So again, I'll repeat. I reclaim my emotional sovereignty. I reclaim my soul family, right? Because the dark triad, they block your soul family. So other heart-based beings, they just want you surrounded by the dark triad. So I reclaim my emotional sovereignty. I reclaim my soul family as they are from source. I reclaim all loyalty extended. I reclaim all hope invested. I reclaim my emotional wellness. I reclaim my money. I reclaim my material resources that are rightfully mine. And then now we're going to name what you reclaim. So name what you reclaim. I reclaim my complete and total freedom from 4D Anunnaki, ANNUNAKI, relationship entanglements, and Archon reptilian, Draco reptilian, 3D systems of relationship control. So name what you reclaim. I reclaim my complete and total freedom from 4D Anunnaki relationship entanglements and Archon, reptilian, Draco reptilian, 3D systems of relationship control. So if you've had a relationship with a narcissist, they are a reptilian or a Draco reptilian. Okay, so whatever relationships, money, land, resources, supplies that are truly mine, let them come to me easily and effortlessly through source, not entangled systems. If they do not come easily, I release it to source. I am free of entanglements and interference. I am complete. I am emotionally sovereign through source. Or emotionally sovereign through source. I am emotionally sovereign. I don't know if that's a word. So I am complete. I am emotionally sovereign through source. I'll just change it. I don't think it's a word. Okay, so whatever relationships, so going back for this one chunk, whatever relationships, money, land, resources, supplies that are truly mine, let them come to me easily and effortlessly. And I put easily and effortlessly in capital letters through source, not entangled systems. If they do not come easily, I release it to source. I am free of entanglements and interference. I am complete. I am emotionally sovereign through source. This severance is final and irreversible. These X relationships, this X relationship decree, this severance is final and irreversible. This X relationship ending decree is spoken with the full authority of my higher self. And backed by source. So I'll just read that again. So this severance is final and irreversible. This X relationship ending decree is spoken with the full authority of my higher self and backed by source. And then witnessed by, and then name your team again. So God, source, divine presence, any guides of unconditional love, angels of unconditional love. Witnessed by, name your team of unconditional love. We thank the team of unconditional love for witnessing and protecting this ex relationship's ending severance decree. And so be it. So just reading that again. We thank the team of unconditional love for witnessing and protecting this ex relationship ending severance decree. And so be it. And then again, let it be updated in the Akashic Records, AKASHIC, Akashic Records, the Book of Life, the Tapestry, TAPESTRY, and the Cosmic Records with Thoth, THOTH. I claim this decree in Source's name, so it is declared, so it is done, it is sealed, it is irreversible. I am not of their realm, REALM. And this realm has no claim on what I am. And so what you're saying in that statement is, I am not of their realm, meaning I'm not of 3D and 4D entanglements. I am here for true love. I'm here for source aligned love. I am here to activate the divine masculine inside of me and then have that outside pairing from source. This is claimed, sovereign, no vacancy. And then signed in sovereignty, and then your full name, today's date and time. It is done, so be it. Okay, the written part is complete. Good job. You probably need to move your body a bit, stretch. Okay, but continue on. Let's get it done. Okay, so now you're going to sit or stand and you're going to read your decree out loud 3 times. So you're going to manifest through speaking, because if you're a light worker, usually the throat chakra has been closed or interfered with. But we want to put out there what we don't want and also what we want. So the reading it 3 times is like the spiritual trinity. So it's like it has a power of breaking resistance. So each time you read it, notice how your body feels and where in your body. And then each time that you speak it, it's like an amplification. It amplifies and increases in frequency with your full voice and your full power. So our voices hold frequency. And then sound, right? Speak it with authority. Commanding, not asking, not begging. You're speaking it, you're claiming it, you're speaking it. And again, notice where in the body there's resistance. You're going to feel there's tension here, or I feel tired, or my hand feels heavy, or my throat feels tight, or my eyes feel itchy. You know, your body is going to kind of show all the interference, and you're going to be surprised at how much you've been carrying every day of interference. Okay, so 3 times. I trust you to do it, right? We are adults. You want to be sovereign. You want to be free. You've been dealing with this. for a long time. Okay, so now let's go to your kitchen, get your pot, okay, and your tongs. You can even get an oven mitt and then fold your paper 3 times. Again, another 3 that we're sealing it. Okay, 3 times. Have your salt close by so you don't forget. And then you're going to light it on fire over your pot. And then if the flame gets big, you just drop it in the pot and then just make sure it all burns. If there are some like a one piece of paper that isn't burned, just notice pick it up with the tongs and notice what didn't burn. And you can really see where the resistance is and the interference. Okay, so make sure you do it safely. It's just one piece of paper, but it can smoke. So open a window, have the exhaust on. And sometimes it burns very quickly. Sometimes it burns very slowly. Sometimes the flame can be very tall. Sometimes the flame can be very low. So just observe it, but make sure that all of it burns. And then sprinkle the ashes with salt, sea salt. It's like it's like a sealant, sea salt. And then you're going to flush the ashes down the toilet. And then you're going to fill the pot up with water and then put that water down the toilet and then do that 3 times. Okay. And if something doesn't burn, just command, this is released. I am free. So just claim it. This is released. I am free. It's done. And then, you know, your team of unconditional love is also witnessing the entire process. Your higher self is, noticing the whole process, and also your records are being updated, immediately. Okay, so it's done and it's complete. Good. It's sovereignty enacted, and you're being kind of, you're not being saved by an external force later. You're not hoping that it's going to change later. You're liberating yourself and your cells and your inner body in the present moment. Okay? Don't keep the ashes. They are not a memento. They are not a keepsake. Don't burn them in the fireplace, because then the fireplace has other ashes. You can burn the ash, you can burn the piece of paper. Remember, it's just one piece of paper. We're not writing a book or a novel. We're not writing everything that they did. We just need the overall. Was there mental abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, right? It's one piece of paper. You can, if you're at the beach, you can bury it, or, in a garden, you can bury the ashes, but I find just flush them down the toilet. It's like very symbolic, just just like taking out the trash. Just goodbye. You know, you've been had these entanglements and it's been so difficult, and we want to get you some energetic freedom so that you're not constantly, you can leave a relationship, and some people, they're not lucky. They don't leave these toxic relationships, right? They were um scarred for life physically, deformed because of that psychopath, the dark triad. So it's like we want our energetic space back. We want our inner sovereignty. Okay. And so self-care, wash your hands after, have an Epsom salt foot bath, because it helps the nervous system and the lymphatic system release the toxins. And energetic cords, as a seer, I've seen them and experienced myself. They're almost like a metal detox is coming out, because you're also releasing the interference inside of you. So have a shower, a bath with Epsom salts. Ocean medicine is powerful. If you're close to an ocean or you can go in an ocean or hot springs or spring water. So let the body process the release. There will be a body response and then rest. And it takes a few days to integrate. So I always say, do one decree, but if you want to do another decree, do it 3 days later. Give yourself 3 days to process this decree and also notice your dreams. So if you have a dream that you wake up in the morning and you remember, it is not a dream. It is a message from your higher self. So write it down. You won't remember it later. And then you can write notes like, how it felt after. What did you notice in your body? People have said they feel liberated. They literally feel lighter. They feel better. It's like they felt like there was this darkness, this energy, this stagnancy, and they have this freedom back. So, you might have emotions that come up like grief and sadness and anger. Maybe you've always been so patient and so loving, and then but the decree actually you feel angry. You feel like your kindness was used against you. You feel like your empathy was used against you. So righteous anger has come up, like, allow it. You don't have to, talk to anybody about it. You can write about it in your journal, but, express it or talk to somebody that you really trust. Drink water, tea, okay? And let the body stabilize in the 5D frequency, right? And then now you're not going to be, constantly energetically yanked around. And if you notice, anybody acting out, it's usually the dark triad. They're trying to get you to go back but what if your energy is so nothing, then why don't, they have their own energy, right? Everybody has their own energy and we can't give anybody our energy. All it does is drain you, right? So that's a big misconception with spiritual or, spirituality or you cannot give people energy. All it does is deplete you. Okay, so to hold the decree, just affirm daily, like I am sovereign. My decree stands. Cords are severed. Unconditional love team, protect me. Right? And then keep doing, parts 1 to 5. And then video 7, I think, is self-care post decree. You can always, revisit that. And just, affirm out loud, I'm not of this realm. I'm not of the realm of the lying, cheating, and stealing. I'm from 5D consciousness, right? Where love and respect, equality, safety, security is the base. That's the regular. So I'm not of this realm, and this realm has no claim on what I am. And, thank you. As we close, let's end here and we close this space. If you want to know more, you can also look at my website. It's my name, elainearsons.com. Book a session if you want some one-on-one time. I'm available, but all of this is accessible. Everything I do there's always a free version. Okay, so these are free. Some people come and have one-on-one sessions, decree sessions. And then you can also join a YouTube Live. Subscribe to my channel and you'll get updates when I'm going to do a YouTube Live. I try to do 2 a week. Watch part 7 of the decree, which is the post decree. So as we, so there's options, there's support. So we give thanks to Source, our higher selves, and our guides of unconditional love, the team of unconditional love, and Gaia, the ancestors that went before us. Thank you for the love, the wisdom, and the protection that you have shared. And then may all energies from this session continue to support for the highest and greatest good. Sealing the energy and closing the space in Source's name. We now seal the space in Source's divine golden light. All energy work is anchored in the body, secure and integrated. That's very important. Calm the nervous system, calm the body. This space is now closed with love and gratitude. Only Source's golden light and unconditional love remain. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.